All right, hi, everybody. Thanks for your patience. We were already in session. We had an executive session before this, so we started in session at 6 o'clock. So thank you for waiting for us, and thanks, all of you, for being here tonight. So we do not need to do roll call. We've already done it. So we're on item A2 of the agenda, which is the approval of minutes from January 5th, 19th, 25th, and 28th. I need a motion and a second at some point for those minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Any questions, discussion? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes. Okay, which moves us on to B, awards and recognitions.
Alrighty.
This is.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay. So, first we will begin tonight by recognizing several of our district's talented and creative student writers and artists. The City of Cleveland hosted their 18th annual celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on January 13th. This event features student winners from the city's art, essay, and poetry contests. This year's topic addressed the question, if Dr. King was still with us, what advice would he have for you, and how would you follow it? I'd now like to invite two Heights High seniors to present their winning pieces. Students, please remain standing in front after you're done presenting so we can take pictures. So first, I would like Shayna Brock, if you please come forward and read your entry. Most of it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring a copy of my poem with me, but I can read part of it to you. I title it The Words of a Wise Man. So it goes, Doctor, oh doctor, I've heard what you said. Doctor, oh doctor, I love how you've led me to believe that love is the key to finally being free. Free from the hate and discrimination, free to live in this diverse nation. I will take these words and live it every single day. I will take these words and spread them every single way. I will spread it to those who come and go. I will educate those who don't seem to know. I will write books and poems so people will know it, and if they care at all, they'll stand up and show it. My job is to do what I feel is wrong. Don't just conform or play along. I can't remember anything after that.
Great job.
Wow, nice job. So next we have DeAndre Dabney. Is DeAndre here? If you come forth and read your piece, please.
Hello, I'm DeAndre Dabney Field. I'm a senior at Cleveland Heights High School. And, all right, my essay starts off, if Dr. Martin Luther King was still alive with us, there are many pieces of advice he would give to this generation today. One piece of advice is that Dr. King would not approve gun violence, especially since gun violence had led to so many deaths in the past couple years. Dr. King would say, in my opinion, that gun violence should be stopped and handled immediately. Too many innocent lives are being taken away and need to be handled accordingly. This certain and very important advice should be taken under consideration due to the fact that gun violence is getting out of hand nowadays. Gun violence is committed with the use of a gun. In recent years, gun violence has become a predicament and people voice their opinions, and sometimes they were hurt, and other times they just blatantly didn't care. Families have lost loved ones due to gun violence, and they've never been resolved yet. Dr. King's advice would be not to give up and keep fighting for the justice of the loved ones that you lost due to gun violence. A quote that stood out to me is that justice is blind. This quote, in my opinion, is saying that the legal system is too blind to see the truth, and eventually it would hit them straight back in the face. Dr. King would be disappointed in the way the legal system is acting as of now, and how justice is not being served respectfully or in the right manner. He would want us to stand to keep fighting for what's really right for the people. In conclusion, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. left an incredible mark before his untimely assassination. Dr. King would want people to come together and be equals, not segregate. However, this is another problem that can be handled appropriately. He would have stood up for what's right and get the point across that gun violence has turned everything into a bloodbath. This certain, shameful, unforgiving type of violence can't live on forever and must be stopped or informed, because if not, the immoral lives will be taken away due to the ability of having a gun in your hands. He would not allow this and spoke his opinion truthfully. Dr. King will not be forgotten, and his legacy will live on forever.
Okay, Cal can come. Yep. And so while he's standing, a couple students are going to join us. So we had 29 other students in our district representing Canterbury Elementary, Oxford, Monticello Middle School, and Cleveland Heights High School. And several of them are with us tonight. I would like, when I call your name, I'd like for you to join our board president and our other two high school students for a group picture. So, and then we have outside of the boardroom some gifts for the students to take away. So we have China Chambers. China, if you come up. Adele Dooner and Patrick Dooner. I think it's brother and sister. Maya O'Brien, Emma Quill, Zelda Hanson, Aaliyah Amin, Jordan Brand, and Christopher Wilson. Christopher. All right, let's give them a hand, please. Okay, and don't forget your gifts are right outside. So now we have our CTE Student of the Month. So first we would like to recognize our January student. Our January student had another engagement last month, so we want to first starting with our student Keon Powell from the Sports Medicine and Exercise Science program. And Keon unfortunately couldn't be with us last month, but he is here tonight. There you go. So this past fall, Keon used his classroom training to come to the aid of a substitute teacher, Pamela Davis. While walking down the hall ramp, Mrs. Davis fell and injured her leg. Keon was among 3 students who immediately came to help her and called for a school nurse. Their quick action was appreciated by Mrs. Davis, who described the students as her angels. Keon is a member of the varsity football team and works part-time at Mitchell's Fine Chocolates. Along with earning a first aid, CPR, and AED certification from the American Red Cross, Keon is looking forward to passing his personal training certificate exam and desires to pursue a doctorate degree in physical therapy in college. Keon would like to recognize you for your outstanding efforts as a good Samaritan and for your accomplishments in the classroom. Come forward so we can all give you a big round of applause. Okay, let's get a. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? We gave your certificate to. Okay. So our next recognition is the Career and Technical Education Student of the Month, Junior Delia Ferretti from the Heights School of Cosmetology. Is Delia here? There you go. Delia was born in Lexington, Kentucky, and came to Ohio about 5 years ago to live with an aunt and uncle in Cleveland Heights. She first attended Magnificent High School in Rocky River and came to Heights High School in her sophomore year. After overcoming the challenges of moving to a new state and attending a new school, Delina now feels confident in all of the choices she has made and is continuing to make. She has chosen to take the cosmetology program because of her interest in hair and makeup. This is a stepping stone to her ultimate goal of becoming a therapist one day. The skills needed in cosmetology go beyond the practical applications of the services. A successful cosmetologist needs to have positive interactions with her clients and understand their individual needs. Delina says she will need similar qualities to be a good therapist. We agree. With Delina's determination and hard work, I am sure she will be successful in her chosen field. Joining Delina this evening to share in this honor is her Aunt Charlene and Uncle Jerry. Can you both come up? Is Jerry? You are. So come on out, Charlene. You can take this picture with Delina and the board president and myself. Let's give it a hand. And this certificate is hers. Okay. Good. Okay, our final recognition tonight is the Career and Technical Education Program of the Month, Digital Video Production. The program instructor, Cynthia Booker, is here along with Junior Miles Males to give you more background on the program. So Ms. Booker, if you come up.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Cynthia Booker, and I bring you greetings from the Digital TV Production Department. On behalf of my scholars in my classes, Miles Mills being one of them, it's an honor for this department to be the CTE Program of the Month. Just to give you a snapshot of some of the things that we've been doing. We've been doing news stories on various topics, video narratives, voiceovers, short films, and in January, we took a tour of WOIO and WUAB TV. Having worked in broadcast media, and specifically at WOIO and WUAB years ago, I wanted to give students an up-close and personal view of how a news operation works on a daily basis. So they got the opportunity to go to the television station, sit there while the anchors were reading their news copy, and in between commercial breaks were chatting it up. So the students got a real kick out of that. They really got a kick out of seeing the green screen, where the weather person stands in front of a green screen, and then on the sides of the green screen are the monitors where they're pointing to the weather. So they got a big kick out of that. Currently, some of my students are working on a mock newscast that is planned for March. The goal for each one of these students is to play a role. Somebody will be the anchor, someone will be the producer, someone will be the sports analyst, and so on and so forth. And we got to get meteorology in there because, hey, we live in Cleveland. So somebody's going to be the meteorologist. And then these students are going to put together stories as a part of the newscasts. So we can't just have these anchors and reporters, or anchors and producers and sports analysts. We got to have meat in the newscast. So they're going to put together a story too, each one of them. Whatever the student's career aspiration, the goal is for each one to understand how the written word can make video come to life. So now I would like to bring up Mr. Miles Mills, who is one of the students in Digital One, and we're going to show you a project that Mr. Mills did when I started teaching in the fall, And the project was to do a VO, a voiceover, PSA type video on why Heights High is the place to be. So while Mr. Mills comes up, we're going to show his video and then he's going to speak.
If you want to make friends, be inspired, and have fun, then Heights High is the place for you. Here at Heights High, we provide sports such as football, basketball, and hockey as well. Not into sports? Then we have student council, drama club, and chess to go along with it. So contact us at the number below and become part of Heights High today.
Now the next voice you will hear, is Mr. Mills.
Testing. Good evening. I'm Miles Mills, a junior in Digital Media 1 class. I'd like to give a shout out to my mom for always supporting me, and to Miss Booker to be one of my favorite teachers. My career goal is to be a cameraman. I believe the skills I'm learning in this class will help me get around the cameras and how they work, and make movies even more great. I'm learning interviewing techniques, how to write scripts, and how to edit video projects. This class is one of the best classes I ever had.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Have a great voice for this. Yes. Oh my gosh, very nice. And congratulations. And we have a program with Career Tech. I think you would be able to get some experience behind the camera. Right. And I want to brief everyone, you guys may be familiar with Ms. Booker. She was part of our communication staff, and she had an opportunity. She really wanted to be with our students and teaching our students. And so our Career Tech director, Dwayne Calendar, made it happen. So she switched from the communications department to the classroom. Right. So she's now teaching her skills to students. So that's to be commended. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we have some outstanding presentations tonight. Again, thank you to your students. You're the reason why we do all of this every day, to see our football players, do great things, and our future cosmetologists and all of our speakers. Makes us proud as a board and as a superintendent that we have such great talent and commitment in our school district. So, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A round of applause for all the students one more time. You are the reason we're here. Now, having said that, you're welcome to stay here. It's the most exciting meeting you're ever going to attend, but we do realize it's a school night, and if anyone needs to leave for homework or for any other reason, feel free to at this moment. We'll give you a minute or two.
Yeah, that was good. He had
It
a
always
great
gets
voice.
He does have a natural.
Yeah.
That disc jockey voice.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all, those who stayed, and again, it's inspiring to see what the students do. We're going to move on to item C, which is public address. I do not believe we have any requested audience tonight. No. Do we have any statements from the audience? Oh, I'm sorry, it was right in front of me. All right, we have one. Keturah Simmons, for the PTA Council, Heights Coalition. We are more than a score.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Keturah, how are you? And welcome. Before you get started, let me just sort of throw out those ground rules we throw out every single time. So for those people who haven't been to meetings before or hearing this for the first time, we do allow public address. I know that sounds like a funny way to put it, but it is not a mandated process for school boards to have public address. It is our choice to have public address. We value the opinions of the citizens, and that's why we want to have it. But we limit each address to 5 minutes, and we keep to that because as important as everything you say you feel is to you, every other person who comes to that microphone feels exactly the same way. So we'd like you to maintain to the 5-minute limit. If you'd sort of keep an eye on me, when it gets close, I'll let you know, okay? All right, Keturah, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am Keturah Simmons. I am the president of the Cleveland Heights University Heights Council of PTAs. We wanted you to know that the CHUH Council of PTAs has endorsed the position of the Heights Coalition for Public Education. The war on public education is harmful to students, teachers, schools, and communities. We believe in our students and our teachers and feel that Ohio's test and misuse of public funds for vouchers and charters undermines public education. We do not accept test scores or report cards as valid measures of quality or appropriate ways to ensure that children are well served. They only undermine public confidence and create fear and anxiety. We also want to invite you to participate in an event that PTA is co-sponsoring with the coalition on Wednesday, February 17th. Please join us at a We Are More Than a Score pep rally that will be held that morning at each of our 7 elementary schools. Help us send the message, tests do not define us. We want middle school and high school families to join us at their local elementary schools. The whole community is invited to participate in the brief programs planned at each school to celebrate what we treasure about our schools and what makes each child special. Tests don't come close to representing who we are and what we value. We are more than a score, and tests do not define us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So with that, we will move on to item D, Superintendent's Report, and that starts, D1 is the third reading, sorry, and approval of the Heights High School new course proposals and course modifications for the 2016-2017 school year, and I need a motion for that.
So moved. Second.
Okay, this is the third reading. These items take 3 readings. That means each of us have seen this item before. Does anyone have any questions, any comments of any kind about the curriculum that has been presented? No? All right, then, Mr. Gaynor.
Mr. Register.
Yes.
Mr. Silverman.
Yes.
Ms. Wright.
Yes.
Mr. Zucker.
Yes.
Mr. Posh.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, item 2A through E I can take together, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so item 2 through E is a series of approvals for field trips. I won't read them all. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any questions, comments? No? Okay, Mr. Gaynor.
Mr. Silverman.
Yes.
Ms. Wright.
Yes.
Mr. Zucker.
Yes.
Mr. Posh.
Yes.
Mr. Register.
Yes.
Okay, so we move on, I'm sorry, do you have any other things? I apologize.
Just a couple things. So I just want to just inform the staff again, we had our State of the Schools address last week, and where we unveiled again, kind of highlighted the goals in our strategic plan and ones that we accomplished. Please look for the website on Thursday. That actual list of all the accomplishments in all 5 areas will be published on the website. And moving forward, every month I will highlight the goals moving forward at each of our board meetings to make sure the community is well aware of how we're progressing on each of those goals. So that's moving forward. Also, I know I want to just kind of talk briefly about a lot of the recent events regarding school safety. And I kind of wanted to provide just a few things for you that I've written. The goal of the Cleveland High School District is to provide a safe, respectful, and welcoming learning environment. It is our belief that the safest schools are those that foster a climate of support and respect, and that instill a sense of community among its students, families, and staff. Building security, incident response, threat assessments, and motivation reductions are additional components of this effort. And the district's foundation for maintaining safe schools is addressed in the following strategies that we have in our school district. 1, engagements of our students and development of trusting and supportive relationships. We understand the relationships of our students are important, and we make sure we keep our students engaged. 2, building a sense of community in each of our schools. We're creating a safe school requires participation of the entire community. And we're making sure that our building principals are reaching out to those community stakeholders that are in the areas of their schools to keep them informed on things that are happening. Staff training. All of our staff training is provided for our staff on an ongoing basis on a wide range of topics such as bullying, classroom management, and crisis intervention. reaction to community incidents, when student conflicts occur outside of the classrooms, in our neighborhoods, at the mall, or even on public transportation. Sometimes we know that those have the potential of coming to our schools. To minimize the risk, it is critical that the staff be attentive to the community incidents that involve that. So we make sure every effort is made, that we have people that inform our safety and security director, coordinator of anything that is happening in the community that may spill on their schools, so that the schools are taking a proactive approach. Collaboration with communication with police and our social service agencies. Our communications safety director, again, he has a direct contact with University Heights, Cleveland Heights, and South Euclid Lyndhurst, and collectively they meet to make sure that if anything that is happening, we need to be made aware of, that those things are taking place, and we provide the support that's needed. We also have a problem-solving approach to identify patterns or cluster of incidents. Again, we make sure that our schools are gathering data appropriately when incidents are reported. We do not take incidents lightly, and they have protocols in place that they are getting accurate information from various parties. Also, with incident management, we have management teams. When the incident occurs, we have our safety and security person, our administrators, our communications coordinator, our pupil service directors. All of these people are working together with our school buildings to make sure that conflicts or any type of incident is being resolved immediately. We have our staff of being NIMS trained, that's the National Incident Management System, and also Incident Command System. So our security staff have that training that was provided by Brian Loretz. We've employed county sheriff deputies for our high school. So we have we have a partnership with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff Department, that we have at least 6 part-time deputies in our high school, and they have specific roles and have received training to assist in our high school. And we also have 19 school resource officers. And this includes 8 of those resource officers at our high school, 1 at our Option Center, 1 at Belfair, and 1 at each of our elementary and our middle schools. These SROs are certified, they have CPR certification, and they're certified and have the training necessary to help in any incident that occurs in our school district. All of our schools have emergency procedures in schools. We have our emergency plans. We just received recognition from the state that all of our safety plans are in and approved at the state level. And that was accomplishments that we kind of got out early, but we make sure that those plans in place so everyone understands if something happens, what actions to take. Even traffic safety. We knew that when we relocated to our high school to Wiley, we wanted to make sure that our students had additional guidance when they're crossing the streets. So we have sheriff deputies for our high school students when crossing Warrensville, in those busy traffic areas, and also people that are patrolling the traffic area in front of the schools. Technology, we make sure that we have cameras, radios, teachers can call. So we have those mechanisms in place as well for reporting. And again, our student code of conduct. So we have our student code of conduct in place, so students are aware of the consequences. And finally, our board has adopted policy 5517, and this policy was developed with consultation with parents, district employees, volunteers, students, and communities members. We know that we needed to make sure that the schools are safe, our students are safe, and there's a protocol in place that's needed. Everyone is aware of the protocols. We would know that it has a recent incident that was, unfortunately, it was televised. It was on TV, actually, and it was recorded. Our pupil service director, Dr. Jeff Johnson, immediately put a notification out to our parents of our special needs students, because we wanted to make sure that they knew that we had a protocol in place, and that we were taking this incident, as all incidents, very seriously. Our high school, and our principal is here today, we've asked them to be proactive and make sure that they've put protocols and systems in place moving forward. So they've looked at their policies and their procedures. Mr. Loretz has met with the staff. Students, grade level assemblies have occurred. Mr. Loretz has also made sure he's communicated with all our local vendors and our merchants around this area. So we've been very proactive in making sure that students and parents understand that our mission, again, is to make sure that we're providing safe, nurturing, caring environments in all of our schools. And we do have the necessary, I believe, staff members in place to make sure that these, as many of the incidents that we can control once they come to our attention, that we have protocols in place. I think moving forward, we would need to do some more outreach with some of our social agencies to provide some assistance for families when things happen in the community. And when those things happen in the community, we can get some social agencies to help those parents kind of control and have some conversations around that before they spill over into the schools. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that we have some things in place, we have been proactive, and we understand that safety of our students is very important for all of our students, our special needs students and our regular students as well.
Thank you. And I don't want to put him on the spot tonight, but maybe at a future board meeting, Dr. Johnston could talk some about the promotion of positive behavior and positive choices, which has been an endeavor in the district for a while now as well.
Right.
So,
Would you like him to come up, or you want to wait?
Again, if you could say something about that, it'd be great. Just a brief,
Yeah.
Good evening. I'll just talk briefly about, in response to the special needs portion of it, just to expand a little bit on Dr. Dixon's comments. We knew that this particular incident that was televised was not an incident that occurred because of the student's disability status. It wasn't an episode of bullying, harassment, or intimidation, or a physical altercation directly related to that. More to what Dr. Dixon's been talking about. But we also knew that when something like that occurs and it impacts special needs students, that raises concern. And so we wanted to make sure and communicate to our special needs parents population the steps that we're taking. And one of the things that we're doing is we're having each one of our case managers review their caseload and check in with each one of their students who are a special needs student to make sure that if there was ever an incident or if there's anything happening, that they are aware of it, that they feel comfortable reporting it, and that they're able to act on it. It's very important to know that we've had 0 reports of bullying, harassment, or intimidation specific to students with special needs. We do have incidents of bullying, harassment, intimidation that we certainly investigate and follow up on, but that issue of something impacting a child with special needs creates a very, very strong sense of protection, and we understand that. And so the people who work closely with our students, our case managers, our intervention specialists, are going to be checking in on each one of their students to make sure that they know, once again, that if there's ever a circumstance or something that's occurring, that they have a person to go to and a process that's in place that allows for the investigation. So I wanted to make sure and stress that. And we had some very passionate folks, very caring folks contact us with concerns about the message that was sent and how is this related. And we knew that it's very, very important that we proactively talk and communicate with our families. And one of the really good things is that we're developing the parent-mentor role through Reaching Heights, and the parent-mentor did a fantastic job of communicating parental concerns to us, enabled us to be able to address those and make sure that we were reaching those individuals. So that investment by the district and the work that Amy's doing through Reaching Heights was excellent in this case, okay? Broadly speaking, the district has been working on positive behavior supports and school-wide interventions for a period of time. And it includes, teaching and promoting positive expectations. It includes breaking down and really looking at the data and the incidents that are occurring within the school. It's not enough to kind of define your climate by one number, a suspension or something along those lines. You have to try to get underneath, all the factors that are contributing, the where, the what, the why. So the data team under Allison Bird's leadership has really been trying to develop tools that our staff can use, our building leadership teams can use, so they can get a better understanding of what's occurring. So that's part of the work that's happening. And then there's a reteaching and a re-emphasizing of expectations that has to occur throughout the year. Just a closing comment, the school-wide efforts are very, very important. But you always have a percentage of students that may not respond real well to all the rules. And it's very important for us and for our families and our community to make sure that when that occurs, we have supports in place. And that's where Tier 2, our student assistance team, classroom management practices, social workers, counselors, psychologists, that's when that student assistance team, which is in every building, comes into play. And that's part of positive behavioral supports. So, those are things that we continue to work on, we continue to try to improve and refine.
Good. Good. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me put you on the spot like that. I appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to item E, personnel item. I think I could take E1 through 8 together, is that correct? Oh, plus the addendum, I'm sorry. That's right. All right, I need a motion for E1 through 8 plus the addendum.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion, comments? Mr. Gaynor?
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Okay, we can now move on to business services. I believe we have to take these separately, is that correct? Separately? Yeah, so item F1, the recommendation to approve the lease proposal with the Board of Education of Warrensville Heights City School District. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Shigalski.
So good evening. This is a recommendation to lease some space at the Warrensville Heights High School. It's their basketball gym. We've been working collaboratively with Dwight Hollins and his coaches to find some space for our boys and girls basketball program for next year. We've been able to work out an arrangement with Warrensville. This is a proposal. With your approval tonight, then, we'll wait for the Warrensville Board to approve a similar proposal, or the identical proposal. Once that's in place, then we'll bring a final lease to the board and expect that will happen in March.
Questions?
Are we currently using the gym for practices as well, or just for competition?
This is for competition.
Okay.
Anything else? Sorry, go ahead.
We're doing it currently, I guess, from this, where the basketball games are selling out then, if I'm reading this correctly?
Well, they are.
Okay.
And yes, this space will provide additional seating, has a better competition floor, better lighting. It's be a superior facility for our
Parking too, I
students.
think.
Better parking. It's a little less expensive than where we are now. So this is I think this is a good arrangement for the district.
It's a better venue with a better
Yeah.
revenue stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
All right, item F2, resolution authorizing Ohio Schools Council cooperative advertising and receiving bids for school bus chassis and bodies for the 2016-2017 school year. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Shigalski.
So this is something that we've been doing annually. This is part of our regular refresh of our bus fleet. This action simply authorizes the bidding and the receiving of bids, does not commit us to a purchase. That would come in a later recommendation to the board once we've received those bids, looked at them, and so forth. So this has been a great program for us in cooperation with the House Schools Council and, House Schools Council, right. So thank you.
Questions? Comments? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes, and then item F3, the 7 donations, to accept those donations, I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Anything you want to say?
We thank all of the folks who have donated. We're greatly
Generous,
grateful.
yeah, very generous. Anyone have any comment? All right, Mr. Gaynor.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask Steve,
Excuse me, hang on a second.
my obligatory facilities questions? Okay, I just have two quick ones. The first one was, I think the design drawings are ready to go to Columbus. We need to sign off or whatever. I know there was a notice that you said there's a giant voluminous set that
Yes.
you don't want to share with all of us.
I'd be happy to share with all.
Because it's so big.
Right, it's not that
It's not that you don't want,
share.
Well, not
exactly.
that you
I don't
don't
wanna
wanna
share.
So many pages. There's a few sheets, or a few specifics. I'm gonna give the super like the final front elevations. There's a handful of sheets that I would like to see the images for, just a handful. So I'll give that to the super. And the second one would be I know we have a public meeting in regard to the middle schools. Do we have their schedule for calendar year 2016? I'd be curious to see I want to put the dates on my calendar.
Not yet, but
Oh.
we're working with Dr. Dixon right now to establish that, and I'm sure we'll get that to the board pretty soon.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are my two.
All right. All right, well, I move on to item G, finance. Take them separately or together? Together. All right, items G1, 2, financial reports, and the resolution approving payment of purchase orders. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Gaynor?
We have the cash position report for the month ending December 31st, 2015, and then we have 2 confirming purchase orders that exceed the $3,000 threshold. Anything that's after the fact, under that amount, I can just attach it in a now certificate. Any purchase order that is after the fact, in excess of $3,000, it requires board approval. So we do have 2 purchase orders that we need to verify that we did have the funds available at the time the purchase order should have been in place.
Questions, comments? Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Posh? Yes. Mr. Register?
Yes.
So we'll move on to the board president's report then. I originally was going to speak on something, and I changed my mind with recent events, and also listening tonight. I was reflecting on, as Dr. Johnson was speaking, and on the recent events, and as Superintendent Dixon was speaking. And look, all of us know that the altercation that all of us, I assume by now, know about was awful. There's no other word for it. It was just plain awful. And while we all know that this kind of thing can happen anywhere, we will not tolerate it, we will not accept it, we will not condone it, and we will not make excuses about it, as you heard earlier. And that said, the other part of it is the vast majority of our students are every bit as disgusted about this as we are. So don't think this is just a message from the parents or a message from the adults or a message from the administrators or a message from the staff. This is a message from everyone in the community. And so I think one of the points I wanted to bring up from this whole thing is this type of incident, what happened, does not define us. This is not what defines who we are. And it doesn't matter how many sensationalist articles there are about it, sensationalist journalists who want to report about it. This is not what defines us. What does define us is our compassion for our students, our compassion for for each other, and our students' compassion for each other. And you see this tonight. You saw the students that came up earlier. You see their passion for what they do, their compassion for each other. This happens time and time again. The fact of the matter is, the vast majority of our students are absolutely top-notch people, and we could all learn a thing or two from every single one of them. So the other thing that defines us, other than that, is our focus on a more robust solution. And that's what I was thinking about while Dr. Johnston was talking. We're looking at one that deals with addressing, supporting, promoting positive student behavior, positive student choices. Because you can take any given incident and you have to react to what happened and you have to deal with what happened. But if you want to look toward the future, you deal with how do you model, how do you encourage positive choices. All of us were that age at one point, and all of us made some decisions that probably we aren't totally proud of. But we had mentors, we had people in our lives who helped us to know what to do to make it better. And that's who we are in this district. That's who all of us are, that's who all of our students are. I guess I wanted to sort of top that off with we are a district of great students with great minds, and we will not let ignorant behavior define us. So that's my comments for tonight. I'm going to move on to unfinished business, and I'm going to sort of fold some different things in here because I'm still getting used to what things fit in exactly where. So first, in terms of unfinished business, let me just make sure I've got my notes in front of me. Yeah. So a couple things. At the last meeting, we talked about, I mentioned the fact that we had not determined all the committee, who was on each committee. I mentioned the people that I thought should be on each committee. We have finalized that. There is a list here. I can go through it again, but I had said it before. We post these on the website anyway. So we have committee members from the board for each of the committees. I encourage you, if you haven't reached out to your particular committees yet, just let them know that you are the liaison, so that they make sure you're on the email list, and I can make sure with them that they have that as well. One of the committees that I would call unfinished business, and I have an apology that goes along with this committee, is the Facilities Accountability Committee. I believe it, in fact I know, at the last meeting I said that at this meeting we would determine who the 2 new board members were for the Facilities Accountability Committee. Let me back up a stage and sort of put everybody on the same page. We got a number of applications for the Facilities Accountability Committee. We are absolutely fortunate. The applications were universally outstanding. It's a very difficult choice. I'm going to sort of cut to one chase that my apology is that I am not prepared to do this tonight. I've been out ill for a number of days, and I did not help the board to be prepared for this meeting tonight. So we're going to put this off till the next meeting, and we will decide at the work session in February, which is the 16th?
Yes,
Yeah,
16th.
Thank you. But I do want to sort of, let's set the stage so that everybody's on the right page here. The charge of the committee, because I think that gets talked about a lot, and I want to be sure that we know that, and I'm reading from this, the mission is of the committee is to monitor and regularly report to the Board of Education regarding the status, progress, and expenditure of funds for Phase 1 of the district's comprehensive plan, as authorized by district voters as Issue 81 in November 2013. The FAC's responsibilities include monitoring the implementation of the facilities master plan, as well as reviewing the status of construction, financing, and fundraising, following proposed and actual construction costs, and reviewing community engagement in school planning, construction, contracting, and construction workforce. One other thing that was decided at that point was that by December 31st, 2016, the Board of Education would begin a process of either expanding the FAC or impaneling a new separate committee to monitor Phase 1 renovations to Monticello and Roxborough Middle Schools. So given that, I would like to propose, and I'm sort of, again, moving into another piece of old business, which is finalizing many of the work sessions. I'd like to propose that one of our work sessions be to talk about the FAC, to talk about, what is the function, what do we see the function of the FAC being and the future of the FAC being. Don't get all excited. I'm not suggesting disbanding. I'm suggesting we just have this discussion because I think it'd be a worthwhile discussion for us to have. So we can set up which exact date, but I think that would be a good idea for a meeting. Right. So I think as we go forward, what we'll do is we'll bring the candidates forward next meeting. And I apologize to all of you who are expecting it for tonight, and I apologize to my fellow board members for not being prepared myself. So. Beyond that, in terms of other old business, I'd like to make a suggestion for another topic for a work session would be on school finance. As I listened to even the public comment tonight, even the public comment that was brought to us tonight, which was eloquently put, thank you, Katura, does have there's interleaves between that and school finance. And so I think that we need to have a discussion where we're all sort of on the same page about what school finance, how does it affect all these things? So, Mr. Gaynor, we'll impose upon you to be our lead on that, but I think it'd be a worthwhile topic. Okay, let me see if I have any other old business. Does anyone else have any other old business? Let me give people a chance real quick.
The finance, can we talk a little bit about the finance special committee meeting, or not special committee, the work session that you're proposing?
Yeah.
When does the 5-year forecast normally get presented to the board?
May, October and May. Although it can be presented at any time. But you formally have to approve it at least twice a year, and that's in October and May.
We failed a levy a couple years ago, and we've been biting the bullet. And the 5-year forecast is the big driver in determining really how much you need to go to the community to ask for. It probably makes sense for us to really dig into that document to make sure that the public really understands that as we go forward with the discussions on needing another school levy. I mean, we know it's inevitable. It's inevitable for all school districts.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That would be part of that conversation.
Yeah, I think.
Absolutely.
Combine those
Sure.
two topics together at that work session. I think we have an
Absolutely.
opening for May and June work sessions. We have February, March, and April, I think, designated. I know February and March. So I know May and June, I think it's open, and we can maybe switch something in April, but I think April is middle schools.
I'm of the opinion, I think because of, it's 2016, I would rather we add a third meeting sooner than put it off because of the breadth of the topic, in my opinion. I don't know. And
Okay.
I mean, I don't know my colleagues if they want to have a third meeting or not. I would rather, just because finance is such a big issue. I mean, that's really, we hire a superintendent, a treasurer, and finance. So that's to a high degree, those are the big three.
Well, I know, just putting on my parent hat, and when I was involved in school levy campaigns, wearing my parent hat, the sooner you get involved, the better. When you start going into the summertime, people just start forgetting about school, which they should, frankly. That's what summer is for.
Yeah.
But I think the sooner the better. And if you've got to tie this into a 5-year forecast discussion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work to do here. And I think that if we look at Goal 5 in our strategic plan, we've already laid the foundation for what some of the things in a work session might look like. And I think one of the things that we ought to be thinking about is the kind of data and information that financial data and information that we bring to the public. And maybe we could, I know it could be a lot of work, but we should be thinking about a little bit about formats and things like that as it relates to how we would communicate information to the public. So I would encourage looking at and maybe even trying to test out some of the notions about, what did you call it? The
popular annual
CAFRA.
That makes sense. That way we could vet some of the possibilities and options in terms of what that data might look like at a summary level, because that's the whole purpose of the popular report, is that it's easily understood and digestible by the community. So we can fold all of that into that conversation.
And just one comment about the FAC, which is probably not fully formed, but I wonder if we could impose upon our members on the board to kind of, I almost feel like there's something that we may have learned from having an FAC in place for a year and a half, 2 years. It was 2 years now, isn't it? I wonder if we could have those board members at least bring back information and some summary or some notion about how the operation of the FAC has gone, even making some judgment and reporting it back to the other board members at that work session.
Oh, wow, that's good.
I'm a little worried about this FAC conversation. I mean, there's great people on that list, but it is a committee that has to work together, and there's strengths. Some of those people have strengths, some of those people have weaknesses. I feel really uncomfortable bringing up people's weaknesses in public. I mean, has that been?
When you say weakness, people's weaknesses, what I think
Or
that
why
we are,
one person is stronger than the next. Let's not even look at it as a weakness.
but we don't. I think what we want to be able to judge is operations of the FAC. When we got into the FAC, we didn't really know, and we had no experience. All I'm saying is, have we had experience? Are there things that we should know that we as a whole board are not in tune with? Are there some things that we should know? I don't know about individuals on the FAC itself. I mean, I'm certainly not trying to go there. I'm trying to talk about the committee, how it's worked. You know, we've got, we need to look back at our charge. Are we on target? That kind of thing. And I think it could be a discussion by those members that are assigned to the FAC. They could even bring it up in an FAC meeting, and, you know, I don't know. I mean, I would have some ideas about how this could be done if the members who are serving us on that committee are interested, so that we don't bring up the weaknesses of individuals. But anyway, I could see a way to do this so that we at least have a sense of, when we appointed it, we thought it was a great idea. The question that I want answered, was it a great idea? I mean, you know, as simple as I can make it.
I think you folks are, everyone. I'm never shy about giving my opinion, so I'm more than happy to share. As I've attended every FAC meeting for the last 2 years, I'm more than happy to share what I think have been the strengths and weaknesses from an operational, instructional standpoint. As I do know that FAC has been saying that they wanted to have those two positions filled. What they've done is taken the sort of the pledges and commitments the district made in regard to the bond issue, divvied them up amongst their members, so each person sort of has a portfolio, and that's sort of, they've been anxious to fill those positions so they can get somebody who's sort of responsible, if you will, for that. So that's why I think they're anxious to get the positions filled. I think at the same time also that they are, when the idea of a separate committee to handle middle schools, I don't think that there was a great desire and demand for that. And even the idea of just expanding and adding members, there wasn't a huge outcry. It was more of, hey, give us some people to fill those positions. And I think giving them some clarity, having us examine, by that time, it'd probably be 2.5 years in, hey, how do we want this to move forward? I think one area we've sort of fallen down is that we're really not getting updates from FAC. So theoretically, we should really encourage the chairs to come to the board and present at least once a quarter. Here's what we're finding.
Sure. So a couple things. I mean, we're talking about two different things here. So what we're talking about for next meeting is to fill out the two members that Mr. Silverman just pointed out. When I was talking about a work session, we're talking about more what Mr. Register was pointing to, which is this accomplishing what we set out to accomplish? This is a committee of the board that we impaneled. And so is this, again, it is, Jim, I couldn't agree with you more. We are not going to get into talking about individuals and who we like, who we don't like in those ways. What we need to look at is the broader picture of, is this vehicle working the way we want it to work? Again, this isn't about blame. This is about just making sure this all works out. So that was at least my goal in this. So I think you've captured the essence of that. And again, I do apologize for not being ready for it tonight. So, anything else? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut anybody off. Okay, so we'll move on to I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. To new business. anyone have any new business? Okay, I will bring up one thing again, whether this is new business or not. I received an email from Nancy Levin of the library. They would like to propose a joint board meeting between the library board and our school board. Those of you who don't know, this past week, or the last week I should say, we met with both the City of Cleveland Heights one night and City of University Heights another night in joint boards meeting. So I'm just going to, I'll try and circulate some dates. They'd like to do it sometime in March if it's possible. So I'll circulate dates with the administration as well so that everybody knows. So I want to make you aware of that. All right. So then, board committee reports. Mr. Silverman.
Well, don't you want to see if anybody else?
I'm going to ask you first.
Okay. First one would be Facilities Accountability Committee, which we just mentioned, did not have a meeting, so I have no report, which makes that one easy. City Hall, not really on here, but I've been sort of, I guess, a liaison or whatever. I go to the City of Cleveland Heights' Master Planning Committee. Attended. They had a meeting last Thursday, which was why I couldn't make it to the meeting with University Heights, much to my chagrin. The City Master Planning Committee, what they've been doing thus far, to a high degree, the county, they in University Heights have the county's bankrolling it, if you will, to do this master plan. The first, they've been, those of us who live in the Cleveland Heights have seen multiple, a plan here, a plan there, different components. The first thing the county was doing is sort of taking all of this lay of the land, all the stuff, rolling it into one, and now they've been identifying strengths, things you want to do before they start the public component. It's very nice. I think the fact-finding is excellent, very interesting as far as trends. The document, it's a pretty, the folks who the city has on there are pretty, they've been here a while. One of the sentiments was, hey, yeah, this is nice, but really almost how are you going to implement it, as well as a lot of the stuff is very generic, if you will, was saying how are you going to, when you do your presentation, make it specific and germane to Cleveland Heights. But I think they're making good progress. Hopefully that one of the things I, not being shy, said, this is great, but the same with our strategic plan. What are you going to do to make sure you implement it? So I think that hopefully is going to resonate with moving forward. But if they're able to come up with something, I think there's a lot of potential. I think the same as with us. It's going to be the implementation. They're putting together a very good roadmap. It's going to be the ability to implement it. But they're making progress, I believe, on February, I think 3 weeks from today, the city of Cleveland Heights is doing a presentation at the Cleveland Heights Rec Center. So
you're right, the 23rd. Right.
So 7 o'clock at Cleveland Heights Rec Center. So if people are interested, it'll be a good opportunity. It's sort of the first rollout, if you will. There'll probably be a lot of stuff hey, that's sort of a no doy kind of a thing, but it's nice to have it all in one document to move forward. The last one I have would be for the Alumni Foundation. Just pretty much say the dates. April 17th. The next pancake breakfast will be at Wiley Middle School, so mark your calendars now because we know you want all you can eat pancakes. I was a little concerned we hadn't heard back from Steve Smith, our vendor. He had actually retired. So it'll be our first time we have it'll be the same company but a different person for the first time in 20 years. And then
flipper for Chris Cakes.
Yes.
For those of you who know Chris Cakes.
Yes. Thank you. A little too much inside
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I don't use acronyms. I just assume everyone knows who Steve Smith is. And then sometime in April, we always get the question. In April, the inductees for the Alumni Hall of Fame will be announced. So that'll be coming down the pipeline in April. And there'll be another Heights Gear sale later this month. And the flyers are out in the lobby with the date for that as well. So those are my 3 committees.
Any other committee reports? No.
I'll just say very briefly, I received a monthly newsletter from MSAN. I think everybody did. I'm not sure that we need to do a whole lot with it, but they actually are going to have a couple of activities in Shaker Heights mid-March. And I think basically there was a time when there was a whole question about whether the boards of the individual districts had any role in it, and I think we never got to the point that we decided that we did. So I think that what we would want to do is just from time to time just be aware that, and I think they're coming this month, aren't they?
Yes,
Next meeting.
Yes.
next work session.
So it's, I thought it was really nice for us to get that newsletter, and I encourage people to read it and see what's happening.
Well, I agree. I saw that. One of the things, I mean, there were a number of things, but this school in Jennings, Missouri, how can our schools impact poverty? I think that's a great,
Right.
that's a great program. I mean, there's some really interesting programs that they're bringing.
Yeah.
So. I don't mean to steal your thunder, Ron.
No, I just wanted to make us aware that something's happening.
Very good.
We have it as one of our committees. We should be aware of it.
Yep. And I'll add on Reaching Heights. Reaching Heights is having their volunteer coordinators meeting Thursday, February 11th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. at the Reaching Heights offices. And you can hear about all their many different programs at that point. And then going along with, again, Katura, I just keep giving you little cues here. The We Are More Than a Score clap-in, that was actually advertised also by Reaching Heights. I think they're also one of the sponsors of this. Wednesday, February 17th from 8:30 to 9 a.m. at all CHUH elementary schools. Thank you for bringing that to our attention as well. And then if there are no other committee reports, correspondence and announcements.
Just again about our next month, our next special meeting, we have students from Avid and MSAN. They're going to present along with students from Noble. So it'll be a showcase of our programs in the district. So please come back and see our students and learn more about those 3 programs.
I've got a few others that I can end up with then, I guess. Wednesday, February 24th at 7:45 a.m. is the Family Connections 9th Annual Breakfast for the School Board. And so Family Connections is a great support. Many of us remember.
They haven't sent out any invitations yet, have they?
Yes, they have. There's you got an
Evite.
Evite, so check your email. They may not come to everybody at the same time, so don't.
Okay.
But that's.
February 24th?
February 24th. I think that just came today, so it may have been late in the day. But that's, they used to, Heights Parent Center, for those of you who are as old as me, will remember it's a great institution. And then a couple others. Along the lines of my president's report, I just want to make a couple of mentions. Senior Charles Conwell competing for a spot on the U.S. Olympic boxing team in the as a middleweight boxer, will be traveling to Rio de Janeiro, I believe it is. Take me with you in March. That's number one. Number two, the Midwinter Instrumental Music Department concert is this Friday at 7:30 p.m. at Wiley. My buddy Emma Zordon is the senior soloist. She's doing Vivaldi's Winter of the Four Seasons. And number three, I already said, was the Family Connections breakfast. So come.
Yes.
So, nothing else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Mr. Gaynor?
Mr. Posh?
Yes.
Mr. Register?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker?
Yes.